welcome everyone to the first race of the season. It is Season 7 of the Full Send Racing Series, presented by the Full Send Racing Association. It is the Daytona 200, presented by Berserker Industries. Welcome everyone to the Racing Line Network, and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway, the Daytona Super Speedway, what have you. Of course, a very common track here to start off any season, and well, is definitely not going to be disappointing, that is for sure. Hopefully everyone is doing well this evening. And it's going to be one heck of a show here tonight. It is going to be 80 laps here at Daytona. No graphic, unfortunately, as I have failed to prepare that in time, or just at all. Oops. I'll have that by the next race, but it will be an 80-lap race. Stage points will be given at the halfway point, which is effectively just going to be lap number 40, going into lap 41. So at the completion of lap 40, stage points will be given out for the top 10. However, that does not mean that there will be a caution, and we will go through the rules in that case if we do come to that. But no stage caution, but stage points will still be given out. Fuel is expected to last by about 30 to 33 laps, so just about a two-stop race is going to be expected, depending on how things go. Qualifying is currently underway. And while we have the chance, let's take a look and see what drivers are setting these lap times. Taking a look at last week's Clash winner, who stretched the tires 80 laps, coincidentally enough, 81 laps technically, past the originally scheduled limit. This is Hunter Karsten, who's currently on a lap, I believe. So let's bring up his lap time information. Once he crosses the start-finish line, we'll see where he places. Across the start-finish line, currently 4th place. That was his first lap as well, as he did not have a previous lap set. Other drivers, of course, still setting times as the times do roll in. And we will bring up the current timing screen. It's the timing tower, more accurately. Karsten got shuffled down to 5th place. Taking a look at Michael Thorpe Jr. as he will cross the start-finish line. Zachary Lovelace actually goes to the top of the provisional pole position. What does Michael Thorpe get? 4th place at the start-finish line. Took a while for the time to come in, but Corey Moore and Heberly Telemock have currently taken over the 1st and 2nd place position. Not sure why Brent is being shown in the first place position on this timing tower. There we go. That should be a thing of the split if we do this very quickly. Well, that's not going to fix that, so we'll just do the full thing instead. It's a lot easier that way. Ryan Lynch currently making his way down the back straightaway. We'll catch up with him in a moment as Cameron Sarton is going to be rounding through turns number 3 and 4. 1 minute left in qualifying. This would basically be the last chance for anyone to cross the start-finish line if they have not already, as these lap times are just about 50.5 seconds. Sarton crosses the start-finish line. Where does he bring that number 1 machine? 18th place for the moment. Ryan Lynch is about to cross the start-finish line. And where does he place that number 3? 16th place on the starting grid. 20 cars have set a time. Jared is a little bit late to the party. 35 seconds left in qualifying. He won't even make it in time. Tony Brent has made his way up the timing tower just a little bit. That might potentially do it for the rest of qualifying. So while we still have the chance, let's go through your starting grid here for tonight's event. Even though these pace laps are long, doesn't hurt just to go through it a little bit early. Starting in the 1st place position, there we go. It's going to be Travis Dart. Andrew Medlin starts off in 2nd place. As the session switches, we get cycled all the way through, so we'll just go through, back up to 1st and 2nd. If it would let me. Man, I love technology. Well, first and second is going to be Chowstar and Andrew Medlin. Third place is going to be Hunter Karsten. Corey Moore starts off in the fourth place position. Fifth place is going to be David McConnell. A lot of close lap times. Keep an eye on those as well. Gonna have to change the iRating graphic as well, considering I'm doing a league now instead of an official series. Whoops. Well, that's noted for later and for next week. Michael Thorpe Jr. will start off in 6th place. 7th place is going to be Victor Pfluger. Heberly Telemaque rounds out the 8th place position, starts out on the outside of Victor Pfluger. If we get a look at the cars on the starting grid, 9th place is going to be Larry Griffin in the 77, and number 7 of Bill Dart, appropriately enough, both of them rounding out 9th and 10th place. Two drivers with 7s in their car number. It's oddly appropriate. Zachary Lovelace starts off in the 11th place position in that number 33 machine. The 00 of Andrew Littman will start off to his outside. The 39 machine of Doug Pierce, who has almost a Ryan Newman-esque design number, really like that font. He will start off in, will it be potentially lucky number 13 or will it be unlucky 13? We will find out. Brian Johnson in the 27 starts to his outside. Jonathan Burt, who has yet to go onto the grid, there he is. He'll start off in the 15th place position. Tony Brent starts off in 16th here in the number 28. Number 1 machine of Cameron Sargent starts 17th, with John Dart on the outside in that 93, starting in the 18th place position. Number 3 car of Ryan Lynch, who we took a look at, making his qualifying run. He'll start off in 19th. And the 101 of Philip Chavez with a wonderful green chrome number. I believe he changed that, actually. He'll start off in the 20th place position. Drivers that did not set a lap time are Chris Chavez Essery in the number 15 machine. The number 5 of Trey Jackson starts in 22nd. 23rd is going to be Jared Claude, who took a little bit of a late run to try and get the start-finish line, probably just feeling at the track. He starts off in 23rd. 24th is going to be the number 17 of William Duffy on the throttle sponsor car. And then rounding up the field in the 55, in position number 25, is Sam Siegel. Well, we made it through. There's just a little bit of time to spare as well as the drivers make their way down the back straightaway for the first race of the season. Let's see how things go. Pleased to have everyone along with us here. Well, I say us, it's just me, the one lone person. Hi, hello, I do everything here. Please help. I'm the only one running the booth, and yet somehow I'm also the only one running the production board and, you know, graphics, what have you. I have so many virtual buttons, it is not even funny. But of course, that's not going to stop me from delivering at best, or as best of a show as I can for you. And that's definitely not going to stop the drivers from delivering as best of a show as they can for you at the same time. You'll see on the top left-hand side all the various sponsors cycling through the night that sponsor the series, specifically Butt Kicker, On the Throttle Racing, and Team Watson Racing setups. Pace car pulls off to the safety of pit road, green flag in hand. As they go through the restart zone, green flag flies, and we're racing at Daytona. Across the start-finish line they go. That first lap led by Travis Dart. And what a great way to start off the season as well, with getting a couple laps led. Now, to my understanding as well, this is going to be very important going into the rest of the season. To my understanding, the playoff system is not an automatic win and you're in, that I know of. That might change by the end of the night, I will see. but I did not see anything specifically stating that it's a win and you're in system. That's only for the playoff round of 12 and the playoff round of 8. A lot of things will be on the line here. So just because you win doesn't mean you're necessarily safe. We would hypothetically have life point standings showing for you right now, but that will be for the next race once we have actual points to go off of. Even then, that will still be a trial, as that has been recently added to ATVO, so we'll see how things go in the meantime with that. Michael Thorpe Jr. currently leads the outside lane in that number 34 machine. Andrew Medlin in the 12. Currently controlling the inside lane. Not too bad so far. Everyone is relatively spread out in the back, and look at this in the back. A lot of drivers making the safer decision for them specifically, going down to the apron. Travis Starr is one of them. I believe that is the 84 of Corey Moore. I'm unintentionally saying that now at this point. So a few drivers playing at the safe route, not wanting to sit up front too early. And fair enough, especially if some of these drivers like Travis Starr were leading. You don't really want to be sitting directly behind somebody because you're still going to be using a lot of fuel by pushing that driver. Michael Thorpe Jr. dropping back, but on the outside lane. He has not opted to use the inside lane, dropping back on the back straightaway. I don't want to say it's necessarily a tactic, but it's more of a fuel strategy move as well as just general safety. That there's 80 laps in this race as the 34 gets squeezed into the outside wall. The 12 of Medlin as well is doing that exact same thing, dropping back on the inside lane. He will very slowly move up in front of Travis Starr. So they make their way through the field. The 34 of Thorpe is still falling back a little bit. Now he'll slot himself in behind the 46 machine. And just like that, new leader at the start-finish line, last week's Clash winner, Hunter Karsten, across the start-finish line. Once again, there will be stage points awarded at the the completion of lap 40, more specifically, but there will not be a caution for the completion of the stage. So the points will still be given out regardless. And if we have a caution beforehand, well, we'll see how things go. In the meantime, there are rules in place for that, if they do need those rules for any specific scenarios. If a caution were to come out around the stage portion of the race. 22 of David McConnell slots himself into the lead. Alrighty, we are at lap 6. Again, the fuel margin for this race is about 30 to 33 laps. So no doubt we should be seeing drivers pit maybe around lap 25 if some of them really want to pit early. You could still split it that way, lap 25 and 50. And then you could hypothetically get yourself to the end just about from lap 50 to lap 80. But it's going to be a very, very close margin. Of course, a lot of factors to play for in that time as well for fuel. Will there be a caution? Are you sitting? Are you sitting behind somebody? Are you pushing? Are you like the 7 car of Bill Dart, who's just leading the outside lane with the number 1 of Cameron Sarton sitting behind him? 88 machine on the inside as contact is made. No, crash in the tri-oval. As we were watching these drivers, and the 46 and the 27 are caught up as well, just in the other portion in the latter half of the tri-oval. And that is the first caution of the afternoon. Very surprisingly early as well. Wow. Well, even I wasn't expecting that to happen so early on. I'll start around the 7 of Bill Dard, and we see that 7 machine is quite crunched up here. As we will go back and take a look to see what exactly had happened going into the tri-oval here. Let's take a look from the upper angle as, oh, was it just a matter of both drivers going unintentionally for the same space? As we see the 46 and 27 also making a little bit of contact there. 00. Oh, wow. Thorpe getting around that right at the last second. A lot of things to look at here. So let's look here from the initial angle that we saw it at. And yeah, it looks like it's just a matter of Let's run this back one more time. Take a look at it from the blimp camera angle. There's the 00, the gray car. Blue number 7 Zin car. And yeah, both of them just moved at the exact same time. That's very unfortunate. I saw the 46 and 27 making a little bit of unintentional extra contact. And then we saw the 34 of Michael Thorpe making one heck of an avoidance. Let's ride on board. Great heads-up driving already by Michael Thorpe. So the caution is out early on here. First caution. I would be quite surprised if a few drivers did decide to pit road. Well, I almost had that sentence. I'd be very surprised if a few drivers do decide to go to pit road, and that looks to be the case, actually. Pretty much a good majority of the field, if not everybody, is going to pit road, and you know what? I can see why. They want to make it to the stage, and this actually does help them out. Does anyone stay out is the question. 2 drivers do stay out, but a lot of drivers here on pit road. I wonder if any of them are going to be making any fuel-only stops as we come back to number 12, who overshot his pit box enough they had to back up twice. I do not see tires going up, so yeah, fair enough. A few drivers, more than likely, taking fuel-only, some possibly doing repairs. I see some drivers sitting in their box for quite a long amount of time. Cameron starts in being one of them, who has a very slow roll away. I wonder if he's waiting for some teammates. We do see the number 7 sitting in his pit box. Same with the 33 of Zachary Lovelace. Quite a few drivers sitting for a lot longer than I was expecting. I believe the 33 may have potentially made some contact there in the initial incident. But regardless, caution is out. But this should get some drivers, if not everybody, to the lap 40 portion, to the halfway point of the race. Again, lap 30 to 33. So this caution can help save drivers, save their fuel going into the second portion of the race. And already a lot of drivers deciding that it might be for the best. A few drivers, well, one driver, oddly enough, Corey Moore, did he request an EOL because he did not pit? But he is dropping to the back of the field. Drivers are allowed to request EOLs as per league rules if they have just connection issues and whatnot. They just don't feel comfortable up front. I think Corey Moore is playing the game of, you know what, might as well just go to the back of the field. Victor Pfluger is also the only other driver that has not gone to pit road. Taking a look at the drivers and their starting positions, a full 25-car field. As Andrew Littman still sitting in his pit box, getting everything repaired. 2 drivers going out of pit road, I believe. Lights on the pace car are also out. And look at that, they are. So 1 lap to green, and then once we go green, it will be 70 laps to go. And then 30 laps until the halfway point in this race. So a lot to play for still. As Victor Pfluger has led a couple laps, whether it's under caution or not, a lap led is a lap led. Like, even leading a lap in pit road is still a lap led. It counts. The start-finish line does go through pit road, as we see the starting order of the drivers on the timing tower, as well as their current running position at the exact same time. Only one driver has gone a lot down. That is Andrew Littman. As he is just still sitting in his pit box. 4+ minutes of repairs. And of course, here at Daytona, as everyone knows, aero damage does matter. So does Lovelace have any said aero damage? I don't see anything on the front of his car specifically. I don't really remember him getting caught up, but he did sit in pit road for 1:40 seconds, much like a few other drivers that got involved. So it might be steering damage that we didn't see at the time, as Corey Moore is going to be letting those drivers through. Well, coming to the restart is Victor Pfluger in the number 80 machine, red, white, and blue. Outside is Hunter Karsten in the number 13 machine in the restart zone, and there they go. Green flag is out once again here at Daytona. Just like that, everyone is single file, and fair enough, I don't really blame them, except for David McConnell, who now goes into the inside lane. And now comes the point of fuel saving and getting to the halfway point at lap 40. That is when the stage ends, but there will be no stage caution, just stage points will be awarded. So now it's a matter of just sitting in line, which, fair enough, it's not technically the most entertaining. However, these drivers, it's what you have to do. You have to do the exact same thing in their exact same situation. You wouldn't try and just push for the lead when you're on lap 12 of 80. And quite literally, everybody is single file, and I don't really blame them one bit. As way to the outside, proving me wrong immediately, is that number 1 machine of Cameron Sargent. He's saying, all right, you know what, I can go a little bit faster than this. He's going to be the first one to blink, although these drivers will have to work together to a certain extent. And that reason being is that once you start going side by side, you start to drag yourself back, as well as the driver to the side of you. You start to drag both of yourselves back to the cars in front of you. Neither of these two really wants to give an inch, and it's not exactly the best option, but it might prove successful in the corners, especially because everyone has to slow up for the car in front of them. It's right on board. Just like that, Cameron Sargent went from the back of the field all the way up to what is now 11th. The 3 and the 27 are starting to follow suit. Remember what I said about 2 laps ago when I was saying, well, not everyone really wants to go side by side immediately. Well, now they do. It's very gradually. A few drivers, at least 3 of them, think otherwise. Now is, of course, the 1 of Cameron Sargent, who he rode on board with. The 3 of Ryan Lynch, second car in the outside lane. And then the 27 of Brian Johnson, whose name has escaped me for about 2 seconds too long, unfortunately. But the 22, I see, of David McConnell has made his way up to the outside. Same goes for another driver in the back. That is the 77 of Larry Griffin. The 12 of Andrew Medlin has also jumped up to the outside lane. This is pretty much the best possible angle that we can look at, despite the fact that, of course, it unfortunately doesn't provide a lot of trackside audio. It's still a very good visual indication of what is happening around these drivers and what moves they're making. Not only that, but what's happening quite literally around the drivers. This blimp view is definitely the best possible option. I believe that's the 39 in the back portion. Actually, the 29 machine. Or was that the 28? Maybe the 55 machine. That is Sam Siegel in the back on the outside lane. A very brightly colored. That's the main Gatorade. I think it's the main sponsor is Gatorade on that vehicle, so it works out pretty well using the bright colors to pop, quite literally, especially on this overcast day at Daytona. Sadly, in my opinion, because of course it is an oval, and these are the Xfinity cars, no rain will happen. I still think that'd be absolutely incredible if iRacing did add. I'm sure at some point they will add either wet tires or some sort of support, and at least to the NASCAR Cup cars, or just the NASCAR series in general, both trucks, Xfinity, and the next-gen cars. That'll just be absolutely fantastic, because they have raced in the rain before. Same goes for the 2009 edition of was currently the Arkham Menards car, as getting very squirrely as Hunter Karsten on the inside lane. Keep it together. It's the part where once you start to get a little bit squirrely, you say, all right, I have to back off here. And that tri-oval is, the apron in the tri-oval is absolutely treacherous. I've had it catch me out a few more times than I would like to admit. So update on Andrew Lippman. He is still sitting in his pit box. Has been repairing his car for the past 10 minutes. As we take a look at him saying in pit road, could be more terminal damage than expected, but man, what a shame, as I believe that was the 93 of John Dart and the 7. 93 John Dart's there. 7 to Bill Dart going into pit road. That heavy aero damage. His last lap time was a 1 minute 7 seconds. He is well off the pace. That might be day done for both Darts. There's still Travis Dart in this race, still on the lead lap, so there's still a 1 in 3 chance that they could still finish. But 2 of them already effectively out of the running for this race. So Victor Fluger has been controlling the lead for the most part ever since the restart. Cameron Sarton trying to make a charge on the outside lane with help from that number 3 machine of Ryan Lynch, trying to get that push on the outside lane. Just over 20 laps to go until the stage point of this race. One of Cameron Sarton I see is trying to potentially side draft number 13 of Hunter Karsten. I'm still unsure if side drafting is as effective as it was in the Gen 6 cars. For the Gen 6 Cup cars, but if it wasn't effective, well, it definitely is now. That is for sure, as he tries to make his way around the outside lane. Let's go back to the blimp shot, because I do want to point something out. Not a lot of these drivers are running bumper to bumper, and that is a very smart decision, I feel like. Not a lot of these drivers will be pushing each other, especially through the corners, but even more so, I don't believe that these drivers are exactly too keen on bum drafting each other left, right, and center, especially with how these cars could get very quickly unsettled in some instances. So it's very smart for these drivers just to hold off, just to use the air to push the car in front of them, like you see the 3 doing with the number 1 on the outside lane. A little bit of physical contact going into turn number 3, just to get that extra bit of speed going into the corner, but not much of a challenge is occurring right now on the outside. The outside lane, which is pretty common here at Daytona, it has stalled out. As they watch on from not only the flag stand, but also the grandstands at the same time. Well, let's take a look through the field. As Corey Moore on the outside lane is making his way around, or at least is about to do his best to make his way around the 77 of Larry Griffin. Is he going to fall in line and try and make a run? He might just barely be in the slipstream range on the outside lane for that number 55 of Sam Siegel. Corey is definitely making his way around, so a lot of these drivers not necessarily pushing too hard, of course. In fact, I'll say at the start-finish line what Corey's last lap time was in comparison to the leader. Leader's last lap time, a 47.950. Corey Moore's last lap time, a 47.349. So not a lot of these drivers running at full speed, as Hunter Karsten having a little bit of trouble on corner entry there. I saw him get just a little sideways, but he did manage to hold on to it at the end of the day, which has to get to the end of the race as well. He made it last week. We'll see if he can prove successful this week as well. As a challenge for the lead is pretty much keeping out the defensive line on the inside lane, the 80 of Victor Fluger, the 13 of Hunter Karsten, the 88 of Heberly Telemack. 34 of Michael Thorpe Jr., the 6 of Jonathan Burt, and the 12 machine of Andrew Medlin, all on the inside lane as Karsten bobbling a little bit once again. It's bobbling sideways, but he's still hanging on to it, and that is what matters, but doesn't hurt to play it safe in some cases. Leader's doing an average 48.0. I'll say about just a 40.0 actually at this rate. As around the outside lane is going to be Cameron Sarton. He's going to have help from the 3 of Ryan Lynch going into turn number 1. Is he going to be able to complete the pass on the back straightaway? That's a real question. The outside lane again very commonly stalls out to the higher lane, and while the track overall is actually going to be protected, potentially, by the 80 of Victor Fluger, he thought about it. Decided against it. Very, very intriguing that the 80 has poked himself up to the outside lane just a little bit. He's moved himself off of that double yellow line. He's running about half a lane higher as well. Maybe trying to stall out that outside lane just a little bit more, just so he can maybe move to the outside lane himself, give Karsten a little bit of air into the engine. Of course, that's the other reason why these drivers aren't running bumper to bumper, is that, well, you need air in the engine. You can't exactly do that if you're tucked up directly behind the rear bumper, as the 1 and the 80 make a little bit of contact going into turn number 2. Somehow, they just managed to hang on to it at the same time. That could have been absolutely devastating going into the first turn. And yet somehow, some way, both of them make it unscathed, save for a little bit of traded paint. 3 of Ryan Lynch poking out to the outside just a little bit. Again, no doubt getting air into the engine. That has going to be, that looks like that will be enough to stall out the outside lane for the moment. Now it's just the three cars up on the outside lane, as the 1255 have all moved to the inside lane. The 6, Jonathan Burt as well, has sat on the inside lane. So currently on the outside in the 1, 3, and 27 respectively, it's Cameron Sarton, Ryan Lynch, and Brian Johnson. All 3 of them trying to make something happen up on the outside lane, but it might be the best time to sit back, regroup, and then go again if they really want to make a challenge. Because right now, it's not over necessarily, but it's not proving too successful at the same time, although there's a gap between the 13 and 88 opening up. And look at that, Hunter Karsten moves up to the outside lane ever so slightly. I wonder if he's very conflicted again, goes to the apron just a little bit, and again gets pulled down to the apron. And this happens when you ride those left side tires on that inside line. A double yellow line will absolutely hook you, especially with the transition in the trial. These drivers don't necessarily have to, well, actually, correction. There is one driver that will have to pit, and that is going to be 2 of them, actually. Victor Fluger is one of the drivers that had not pit at the first caution. He is, well, of course, been running for 27 laps. Same with Corey Moore in the 10th place position as of right now. So the 80 and 84 will have to work together at some point to pit. Of course, they are on the same team of Blue Oak Motorsports. Don't be surprised if you see Brian Johnson, David McConnell, and Tony Brent working together for G4 Sim Sports. Ghost Racing being Cameron Sarton, John Dart, and Trey Jackson currently running together. Guardian Autosport, Hunter Karsten, and Michael Thorpe Jr. On the Throttle Racing, Larry Griffin, Ryan Lynch, and William Duff. Of course, 2 more teams here so a lot of teams here are going to be definitely working together. You hear a lot about manufacturers having to work together. Well, in this case, yes, but also not really. And then we have well, there we go, actually. There's the call from the 80 and 84. Both of them will be going into pit road. There's the 80 And then the 84 following not too far behind. Will they make it just a splash and go is what I'm wondering right now. We'll see as he pulls into his pit box. Pfluger just overshoots a little bit. Does the 84 do the same? No, locks the front tires. That's just a matter of sitting in the pit box. Revs going up as you see the fire coming out of the exhaust. 11.6 seconds. 11.4 seconds for the 80 and 84 respectively. So that timed out relatively well for them. And there is the leader. So now it might be banking on a caution coming out at this point. And considering a few more drivers have started to go side by side, that might be the case. So this leaves Hunter Karsten in the lead with free air going into the engine of his car, the 88 of Heberly Telemac, going to be pushing that number 13 down into turn number 1. On the 27 of Brian Johnson is left out to dry, way up on the outside lane. It's all just a glimpse of the 80 and 84 in the back end of the camera shot. Hunter Karsten making the car as wide as possible while he has the lanes available. Getting off that double yellow line down the back straightaway. Brian Johnson might try and slot himself into the inside lane here off turn number 4. He kind of has a space, but at the same time he really doesn't. Now he does. The 12 is not gone to the inside, but Johnson's not exactly letting off going to the inside lane just yet. It's wide open. Edlund is leaving that door open in case the 27 does need it, but I think Johnson has decided, you know what, I'll see if I can make the outside lane work, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how that fares with 27 in the next lap or two. I just want to go to the in-car real quick and listen to the engine. I figured from the external audio, I figured that that there was a little bit of lifting going on, and yeah, Medlin is not necessarily pushing. He's just riding in line, doing the safest possible option for his own sake. Look at that, Brian Johnson. Remember what I said about in a lap or two? Well, he's got the 22 and the 34 behind him on the outside lane. They're going to be making a charge. Actually, not the 34, correction. That is the 28 up on the outside lane. They're all going to be making a charge around the outside lane. 22, 27, 28. Well, 27, 22, 28. And of course, with the stage coming up, this is going to be very, very crucial, especially to not bring out a caution. It's going to be the that will be the most important part at the end of the day. And all three of those drivers, the 27, the 22, and the 28, are all on the same team, G4 Sim Sports. So trying to get a 1-3 at the stage, or 1-2-3 at the stage. And considering we are closing in on the halfway point of the, not only the race, but the stage, which is at the completion of lap 40, this is going to be very, very crucial. Nearly a staggered 3 wide there a little bit. A staggered 3 wide. 3 wide is putting it very loosely as well in that instance. But the outside lane struggling just a little bit. But They will be doing their absolute best to get to the end of the stage. Intact being the key word. You see the two lap cars. That is the 84 and 80. Corey Moore and Victor Fluger. They nearly timed it well enough. If they stayed out maybe one extra lap, or a couple extra laps, and maybe they would have been able to stay on the lead lap. Potentially. It depends. There's a lot of what ifs in this kind of scenario, but the 84 and 80 will be going one lap down regardless, but they should, hypothetically, get the free pass. Once the, I was going to say, once the stage ends, we don't have stage cautions. They should be getting a technical free pass, or closing in as well on the next portion of the stints, of the fuel runs when it comes to the laps that are run. You see the 27, 28, and 22 all making their way into the lead using the lap cars as a pick. The 28 of Tony Brent gets left out to dry. The 80 and 84 are not on the lead laps. These drivers are going to be on lap 28 of their stint. Again, lap 33 is pretty much the most that they can run. I mean, 28 of Tony Brent is in third. He's going to need a teammate to go up to the outside lane to help him out here, because this is not going to be going too well with these lap cars in the way. They're not exactly in the way. They did stay to the inside lane. They're just running their own race, not making contact with anybody, not pushing the lead cars, not trying to influence anything. This is going to be very crucial for the G-Force team. Are they going to have Tony Brent try and peek out to the outside lane, perhaps? As we're closing in with 3 laps to go in the stage. It'll be lap 29 since these drivers have last pit. Of course, they would have saved under yellow, so they could effectively potentially make it one extra lap if need be. I see the 88 making a move up on the outside lane. That is Heberly Telemac making a lone run up on the outside lane. Telemac, a part of the Texas Speed team. Remember what I said about that 1-3 being crucial? Tony Brent might try and go for the stage win. A lot of things can happen, though. They're going to have to sort themselves out here very quickly to get that 1-2-3. Especially with fuel ticking down every single lap. Across the start-finish line they go. 2 laps to go. Again, at the completion of lap 40. So not on the next lap, but the completion of lap 40. When the lap goes from 40 to 41, that is the portion of the stage. We'll see how things fare here going into the last couple laps. Does Tony Brent leave the 88 out to dry? Is he even clear to do so? Not quite. 22 and 27 would have had to have backed off just a little bit. Unless they were giving themselves the... Oh, wait, no, hold on. The 27, 22, 13, a lot of drivers are not able to make it to the end of the stage, potentially. So this is the last lap in the stage. Drivers going into pit road to fuel, so we'll take a look now at what will occur across the start-finish line. I believe the top 10 drivers do get stage points. I'll double-check as we go down the back straightaway. Will be the top 10 getting stage points. Who will be getting those stage points, though? Here we go. Across the start-finish line, they might go. Tony Brent goes to pit road. The lap cars do go to pit road. Does anyone stay out? In fact, they might get it here at the start-finish line, technically speaking, because they're going past the start-finish line. So Tony Brent gets first. Second, Heberly Telemac. Oh my goodness, Andrew Medlin. Oh, that's going to be very, very confusing when it comes to when it comes to the start-finish line. I don't believe... So technically only the top 7 cars have finished the stage. The 5 is past the start-finish line. He has finished the stage. So Hunter Karsten will get 8th place when he goes across... Actually, did Andrew Medlin stay out? Nope, that's a stint reset. So Hunter Karsten will get 8th place in the stage. 9th place is Cameron Sargent. 10th place is Zachary Lovelace. And just like that, we are back racing once again. And this is why they have race control, and this is why I'm in the booth, because that is mildly confusing to see who will get the stage points. But we did catch that at the start-finish line, and now it's just a race to the end. So 10 stage points to the winner, 9 stage points for second place in the stage, all the way down to 1 point for the 10th place position. So it's a 10-1 from first place to 10th place. And look at this. Cameron Sarton leading the charge on the outside lane with Zachary Lovelace, Michael Thorpe Jr., as well as being tailed by the number 13 of Hunter Karsten. The 101 of Philip Chavez has snuck his way into the top 6. And just like that, we are back racing, but the field is so spread out here. So all these drivers pit roughly about lap 40. So we have to pit one more time regardless, with about 10 laps to go in the race. Now, all of these drivers have managed to single file themselves out. I don't believe any of the drivers are, well, a few drivers that are off sequence are the 80 and 84, Victor Fluger and Corey Moore. They're banking potentially on a caution to occur, and that's probably why they had stayed out for the first portion of the race. And speaking of a caution is out, and it's the 27 of Brian Johnson in, what's that, turns 1 and 2. No, turns 3 and 4. He spun on the apron, and a caution still came out. I do wonder what has occurred for the number 27 machine. I believe this is just after he had gotten out of pit road. Is he alone? Yes, he is. Goes on to the apron. Still keeps under control, tries to go back up, and spins. We'll ride on board. That is interesting, to say the least. And I think I will leave it at that and let race control handle that, because I'm just here behind the mic. I will say that is interesting. That is for sure. 37 laps to go. A few drivers have gone to pit road, so while we have this time available to ourselves, let's take a look at some of the sponsors here. A couple of sponsors that have luckily provided video, and see what they are all about. I wasn't necessarily expecting everyone to come to pit road, but here we are. So much for the quickest commercial break to ever exist, apparently, as pretty much everyone is in pit road. I'm trying to, again, stretch that to the end as much as possible. First off pit road, Hunter Karsten, 5.4 seconds in his pit box. Heberly Telemac spent 4.4 seconds in the box. And 5.4 is the average pit stop time for some of these drivers, as everyone will sort themselves out. So Hunter Karsten leads at Daytona, heavily to the max, second place. Third place, Tony Brent. Trey Jackson has snuck his way up into the top 5. Into fourth place, Sam Siegel snuck his way up into the top 5. In fifth place, Ryan Lynch. Sixth, seventh, Zachary Lovelace. Eighth, Jonathan Burt. Ninth is Andrew Medlin, and 10th is Michael Thorpe Jr. Well, I think now would be a good time to go back and see what some of these sponsors are about. We'll be back momentarily.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway here for the full 7 racing series, where we are just past the halfway point of tonight's event. It's going to be a mad dash going into the final portion of this event. 1 lap to green, as Hunter Karsten will bring the field to the green flag. We are at lap 45 out of 80. Currently the field on the 1-2 green signal. They're making their way through turns 3 and 4 right now, as Hunter Karsten will lead the field to the green flag here in just a few moments' time once they get off turn number 4. It's going to be quite telling to see what the strategy is of a lot of these cars. Everyone in the back, single file, except for just the first few rows. I believe a few other drivers, yes, from 10th to 16th, have decided to go back into pit road when just before the pit road had closed. So green flag flies once again, as we are once again racing here at Daytona. Hunter Karsten winning last week at Five Flag Speedway when we had the clash. A few little heat races culminating in a 80-lap main race, where Hunter Karsten had miraculously pretty much gotten the tires to last all the way up to the end of the event, and worked out so beautifully in his favor. Something that is working out in the favor of the 88 is the push to the lead by the 5 of Trey Jackson. We take a look to see all the starting positions that these drivers have had. Trey Jackson did not set a qualifying time, started 22nd, and now look at this, is currently leading. Now, Trey didn't lead at the start-finish line, that was the 88, so unofficially, in the sense of timing and scoring, on who led what lap, Trey Jackson is probably, we'll see what happens off turn number 4, is about to lead the first lap, well, his first lap of the season. Is he going to move up to the outside to protect that lane, is what I'm wondering. Side by side they go. He decides to stay in line, and just barely at the start-finish line, he makes his way up into the first place position. Officially leads 1 lap. Shout out to Hunter Siegel. Correction, Sam Siegel. No idea where Hunter Siegel came from. Shout out to Sam Siegel, who started 25th, is currently sitting in the outside position, give or take about 4th place. And it's going well for a lot of the drivers, and that is usually the case here at super speedways, where some drivers who started quite literally dead last or just chose not to set a qualifying time has gone insanely well for a lot of these drivers so far. But unfortunately for some drivers, has not gone necessarily the best. One of those drivers being Andrew Littman, who just cannot catch a break for whatever reason. Last week he made it to the main event of the Five Flags Clash and then crashed out quite early on. But he stuck out his repairs, and he's done the same thing tonight as well. He sat in his pit box for 37 minutes, 19.8 seconds to repair damage. Now, I genuinely do not know if there was engine damage and that he collected from the very first incident, but he is quite a ways off the pace, unfortunately. Bill Dart is officially out of this race. Not sure as to why, if it was a disconnect or damage that just blew the engine. John Dart is 31 laps down at the moment. So Andrew Littman will at least be getting 1 more position if he does stay on track for the next 4 or so laps. Leigh Griffin is in the 77. He sits in the 22nd position, 11 laps down. Brian Johnson in the 27 machine, sitting 1 lap down as well, in line to get the free pass, provided he does not have any extra contact when the next yellow does come out. One thing preventing me from doing hot mics is a lot of stuff, actually. Otherwise, I'd absolutely love to do some radio, but definitely not live, not unscreened, definitely not. But maybe something for post race. I'll see what I can do in that instance. Post race being well after the broadcast, so I can actually listen to the audio and double check everything. And now the outside lane is quite staggered here. The 88, 33, 28, 22. Well, never mind, correction. The 88, 33, and 22, minus the 28, all having a little bit of a bobble, a little bit. The dirty air not helping a lot of these drivers. You'll see this potentially. Look down the main trigger. In fact, that is Philip Chavez. Not sure why he is. Correction, that's not Philip Chavez. Who is that? Oh, that's the 93 of John Dart. Still on track. Quite literally. 32 laps down for the number 93, but again, still hanging on. Had sat in pit road to repair his car for 28 minutes, 28.3 seconds. Again, I don't see anything in the car, so any physical damage on the car. So I wonder if there was a. I do wonder if it was from the first incident, if there were a couple extra contacts that were engine related. I just happened to miss it somehow. Regardless, 27 laps to go at the start-finish line. 26 once we cross the line once again. Trey Jackson still leads in that number 5 machine. Hunter Karsten sitting directly behind him in line. We've seen Hunter be in many prime positions to get the win, and he has been successful. Although this is Daytona. This will be a very different track, of course, to get your first official win of the season on. we'll see how things go if a caution does come out, provided we do have time. Provided the iRacing service is kind to us in the sense of not doing insanely quick yellows. We will see if we can grab somebody from the top 5 and bring them in for a quick interview. That is, if we do get another caution. I did say when, but that's just going a little bit too much into the commentator's curse. As we see up on the outside lane, that's a 33. I saw him peeking out quite a lot on that previous camera shot. I was quite confused as to what was happening. Probably just cooling the engine, no doubt. Very staggered lines here. And a very big gap, actually, shockingly here, between the 8th and 9th place positions. I'm genuinely surprised as to this large gap. I wonder if they just happened to lose the draft. So we'll see if that number 93 of Jean Dart is going to be the saving grace, essentially, of the rest of the field here to bring everybody back up and stay in contention for the win. Andrew Littman has also gotten by Bill Dart in the sense of laps completed. Oh, speaking of Andrew Littman, there he is over on the apron. He is definitely well off the pace. He has done 51.954 as his previous lap time. Meanwhile, the leader is doing a 48.1 average, give or take. And, well, just like that, we look away for 2 seconds, and, well, you know, is that the top 9, top to the top 10? That is. Corey Moore and Victor Pfluger are making their way up around the outside lane. They might be the ones to say, you know what, we're not going to sit here anymore and risk being held back, quite literally. We're going to make our way to the outside and the top group ourselves. So Pfluger and Corey Moore make up the rest of the top 10 that are now separated by the lap car of John Dart. And the 3 of Ryan Lynch is just shockingly relaxing. Is he actually lifting? I think he's actually lifting. Either that or the top portion of the rev range is very low, but I think he's actually lifting there. I'm quite fascinated. He's gotten out of the way now, and that will leave the 12 and the 1, Andrew Medlin and Cameron Sarton, to lead their way, to make their way up through the field. And a crisp 191 miles per hour. Wasting very little time. Saying, look, this side catch up, so I wonder if, I wonder what's happening to Ryan Lynch, because he's on the same pit strategy as relatively half the field, 12 laps on his tires. Well, 12 laps since his last pit stop, more accurately. That is very interesting. So I wonder what the 3 has in mind here. But Trey Jackson still continues to lead here around Daytona. We really haven't had the chance as of yet this race, so while we do have the chance, let's take a look at the sights and sounds of the Daytona International Speedway. That is the sights and sounds around Daytona. Riding on board, I believe it was the 55 of Sam Siegel, who had probably gotten loose, it sounded like, and decided, you know what, let's go to the apron and back out, which was a very, very smart move at the end of the day. And of course, it would get him to the end of the race, no doubt. That could be the move that would get him to the end of the race. We'll see. But we still have 18 and a quarter laps more to go here around Daytona. As the sun continues to set, the lights continue to illuminate the racetrack. And the drivers go to pit road. Quite a sizable amount of drivers as well going into pit road. Pretty much from 12th all the way to 19th. Hunter Karsten, Trey Jackson. This is pretty much the point where, interestingly enough, a lot of drivers are splitting their strategy in half. They could make it to lap 70 if they do choose to do so, but, well, they are deciding to pit early. The first driver off pit road looks to be, well, 3 wide, first of all, on pit exit. But Cameron Sarton, first driver off pit road, 5.7 seconds on his pit stop last time by. How many of these other drivers do decide to go to pit road? Pretty much absolutely everybody. So wide that we're going to need this camera instead. 3 wide on pit entry, the 88, the 6, and the 28. Now your provisional leader currently sits at Cameron Sarton. No drivers look to be taking tires, which, fair enough. Nope, right when I say that. Some drivers taking 2 tires, a 55 being one of those drivers taking 2 tires. Does anyone decide to not take tires? It might be Jonathan Burt, who leads the field off of pit road. And where's everybody else, you might be wondering? Well, here's Cameron Sarton, who's in a little bit of a slight predicament of his own. Do they catch up? Are they going to be able to catch up to Jonathan Burt and pass? By 7th, 8th, 9th, watch out for the number 6. That's a 22. He's provisionally 4th place. And it looks like, by some sort of a miracle, Jonathan Burt might technically retain the lead, but he doesn't have any draft to go with. So there goes everybody in the top 10, basically, around the outside by the looks of it. But with everyone moving down this early, this could help Jonathan Burt retain that top 10 position. Just barely. He's about 8th place. So Cameron Sarton leads. Hunter Karsten sits in the 2nd place position. That's not a tongue twister whatsoever. Not many drivers are really wasting their time waiting. They're going to go right to the outside lane, coming to 15 laps to go, being led by the 12 of Andrew Medlin. I'm actually quite surprised that a lot of these drivers are willing to fight this. I don't know if early or late is the correct word, but this early before the end of the run. Trey Jackson moves himself up to the outside lane as we hit 15 laps to go at the start-finish line. A lot of drivers in line for a potential race win. Travis Start, we haven't really seen him since, well, the start of the race, I don't believe. He has made his way back up through the field, sitting and just right in the back, being very intentional about his decisions, as, again, the 13 of Hunter Karsten dips his wheels onto the yellow line. Would this, would Karsten hitting the inside lane so often, hitting the inside double yellow line, would this be, Chekhov's double yellow line in this case? We have 14 more laps to wait and see. And that's if a caution does not come out. Down the back straightaway they go, side by side. Trey Jackson getting pushed by the 12 of Andrew Medlin. A little bit, slightly more of a push than 13 gave to the 1, but again, that inside lane. Just because of how the inside lane is at this track, even though it's technically the exact same distance. Whoa, that's the 6 of Jonathan Burt, who had fallen to the inside lane. Oh no, contact. I shouldn't have said anything. As a 39 gets turned, huge crash going into turn number 1. And in fact, it might just be only a couple cars. I saw somebody go in the air. That is the 84. Corey Moore's day is effectively done. Is that Zachary Lovelace in the infield? No, that is the 88 of Heberly Telemac, whose wheels are stuck forward. Well, it wasn't the double yellow line, so I don't think that would technically be a commentator's curse. But I did bring up the existence of cautions, so I think that might be a commentator's curse regardless. And you see the front nose missing off of Jonathan Burt's car. I'll take a look all the way back, see what exactly had happened here. From top down, from above, see the 6 who had just, I think he'd just gotten too much momentum, too much more momentum than he was expecting, so he moved to the inside lane. Oh no, the 39 moved forward and 88's car's destroyed basically. And more contact. 84's day might be pretty much done and dusted. We saw it from here. Let's take a look at this once again and then we'll roll through. Jonathan Burt is aware that the 39 is there, and then the 39 just slightly moves up to follow the 34. And, well, that is, as they say, that's pretty much all she wrote. Luckily for 39, not too much of an issue. 84, though, had a very different view of that. That same in the back as well. Wow, Heberly just had nowhere to go. And look at that, the 84 jumping up in the air, trying to lock it down, but the grass just did not help his chances whatsoever. Let's ride in car. Oh man, that's just a helpless feeling, and right there, you can see the wheel damage already. Yep, there it is. He's still going straight with that much of an angle. I'm not an expert, but I don't think that's how the wheel is supposed to be shaped. Well, it is how a wheel is supposed to be shaped. It's not how it's not the degrees of rotation that you want on the wheel. We'll go with that one. Let's see, we are on the back straightaway. Let's see if we could potentially get a word in with the current leader, the number 5 of Trey Jackson. Trey Jackson? Well, I don't think that's let's see if we can try once again here. Let's move him back for the time being, because apparently microphones decided to just stop working for a moment, which is quite unfortunate. So let's see if we can try this one more time. We'll wait and see. I'll try this one more time. There we go. Trey Jackson, do you have a copy? Well, we have, of course, pretty much one lap to green, no doubt. So I'm going to make it as quick as possible. Run us through what's going through your head right now. Well, good luck, and hopefully we will see you by the end of the race. Unfortunately, no audio came through. That was not just you. That was also me. So got to figure that out by the end of the race. Apologies to Trey Jackson, but hopefully we did let. I just decided to let him speak, just so I didn't cut him off. But we will see how things go here in the meantime, with the last 10 laps coming to the start-finish line. In terms of what drivers are not going to make it on fuel, everyone's going to make it. That's basically it. Everyone's going to make it. By the end of the race, if we do go to the completed distance, the most amount of laps that drivers will have completed since their pit stop are 18 laps in total. Now, I do see from like Cameron Sarton, Michael Thorpe Jr., Philip Chavez, William Duff, they all have about 14.5-second pit stops. No doubt they not only took fuel, of course, but probably took some right-side tires as well. And we'll see how things go here on the final laps. Pace car will soon be making its way through pit road once again and park at the end of pit lane. Will it be the last time we see the pace car is the million-dollar question. 9 laps to go at the start-finish line. Trey Jackson leads the field to the green. A key thing here, and he does keep it in mind, he does not want to get so much of a lead that you leave yourself out to dry effectively, and leave yourself at the whim of pretty much everybody else around you who might have differing ideas of what they want to do versus what you want to do. Andrew Medlin getting pushed to the lead on the outside lane by Travis Dart. Does Medlin decide to go to the inside lane? He's very indecisive by the looks of it there on the entry to turn number 3, but he does stay around the outside lane, and because of that, they will be fighting back on the inside lane, both the 5 and 13 of Jackson and Karsten. Across the start-finish line just by a fender, that was led by Jackson. Started 25th, did not set a qualifying time, and now look at where he's at, in contention to win. Hunter Karsten also in contention to win. What a way it would be to say, I got back-to-back wins. Of course, you have to go through the next few laps in order to say that you got back-to-back wins in the first place. This is Daytona, after all, and quite literally anything and everything can and will happen. Taking a look up above, no one has decided to go 3 wide just yet, as at the start-finish line, Medlin will edge out the number 5 machine just by about a few inches, effectively. Maybe a couple, about half a fender, if you will. And down the back straightaway they go once again. Everyone's effectively deadlocked here. No one's really making any gains, and that's going to be the case for the next few laps, depending on how things go. So at this rate, we just have to sit back and watch and see what will occur here. What drivers make what moves, such as Trey Jackson defending the outside lane. That's going to open the door for the 13 of Karsten to get through. That's also going to open the door for the 15 of Chris Chavez Essery to make his way up to second place on the inside lane. The 101 of Philip Chavez is 3 wide with a couple other drivers he's making his way through. 33, 1, and 55 staggered 3 wide. A 101 as well, partially around this I don't even know what to call it. Just a line of cars just moving traffic at, hold on, let's double check the speed really quickly. About 190 miles an hour, give or take. That's cutting it real close to the 28 of Tony Brent. getting in front of the number 1 of Cameron Sarton. Trey Jackson is successfully defending the inside and outside lanes. He got so strong of a bump that he's actually gotten bobbled a little bit. The outside lane is falling back. The 46 goes into the inside wall, hangs onto it though, so no caution. The car is still facing forward. That bobbled the entire outside lane. That leaves Hunter Karsten in the lead. My, oh my, do I not have any words for this? Again, I see the 26 get shoved down the front straightaway, down the back straightaway, into turn number 3. 4 laps to go at the start-finish line. Green-white checkers are available if we do need those, and, well, with how things are faring, hopefully we don't. Drivers making their way into turns 1 and 2 once again. Side by side, the advantage going to Hunter Karsten, who is 1 full car length ahead of the outside lane of Trey Jackson. Well, I said that, and not even 2 seconds later, the 5 and the 12 make their way through. Look at that through the middle. It's going to be the 28, the 1, the 33. They're effectively forcing out the 12 and 26 to the outside lane. So a new middle lane is formed, so they are 3 wide, but these guys got to be really, really careful here. 3 laps to go at the start-finish line. Victor Pfluger has made his way back up. I saw the 15 ball before a moment. This is effectively the only best camera that we have possible, especially to see all these movements that these drivers are making. Just like that, they have just managed to solidify themselves. Although, look at the 12 and 26. They're fighting back on the very top side. Same with Michael Thorpe. Trey Jackson is going to be caught in the middle ever so slightly. It's not Trey Jackson. That is Tony Brent caught in the middle in 28. Jackson moved up to the outside lane ever so slightly. No doubt a bit indecisive. Gets a little bit of a bump in the corner. Now he moves up to the outside lane. Caution might come out here, especially with this crash here in the main tri-oval that we just caught the tail end of. And the race is not over. We are not going to have a full distance. It has already been extended, coming to what would have originally been 2 laps to go. Wow. We will not only get the replay up for you, we'll also make a quick sound change. So get the replay up here momentarily and catch everything that happened here coming out of turn number 4. The drivers are at 15 laps completed from the last time they had pits, so they are fine. And they will have the ability to stay out if need be. We have 1 of 3 total green-white checkered finishes. Travis Dart has been given an EOL penalty. I believe that's no doubt him taking responsibility, saying, hey, that was all on me. I'll get your replay up here in just a moment. So let's see what happened here. We'll have to go to the blimp camera for this, potentially. So let's see. Sitting here on the outside lane, 28 moves up, the 1 moves up as the 26 moves down. Those 2 spin off to the inside. Travis also flies a little bit more to the inside. And then the 33 collects the 93, the 3, the 17, the 101, and the 34. Man, oh man. I think 27 out of an avoidance as well. Just barely. He got right through that. Let's see what happened with the 1 and the 55 off turn number 4. Do they make contact with the inside wall? Yes, both of them do. Let's call the tail end of that. Let's try that one more time. Yeah, both of them hit the inside wall. I'll go back again. We'll ride on board with the 17 of William Duff, who had absolutely nowhere to go. Oh man, just literally nowhere to go. Not sure why he's being scored for. Did he tow, actually? He might have. Oh no, he's in pit road. I wonder why he's being scored as first. If I had to guess, he might have towed. Ah, he did. Yep, he's in this pit box. So he might have gone to. He might have towed, no doubt, because the wheel was definitely not in prime condition. That is for sure. And that's putting it lightly. So we have 3 green white checkered attempts. This is going to be the first one that we have in total. Let's see if the lights do go out on the pace car this time by. And they do. So lights out on the pace car. So 1 lap to green, the first green white checker attempt. Hunter Karsten has been in this situation before. Of course, all the drivers that are in pit road. As a result of that, we have William Duff currently sitting in his pit box. Ryan Lynch sitting in his pit box. Same with Travis Dart. Michael Thorpe Jr. sitting in his pit box. The 33 is Zachary Lovelace. We saw the 88 of Heberly Telemac, although I've been sitting in pit road for the past 16 minutes ever since the crash involved the 84 of Corey going through the grass, and John Dart sitting in pit road for the past 4.5 minutes. All these drivers I mentioned have been sitting in pit road for effectively I was about to say 5 minutes, about under 5 minutes. So keep an eye on scoring, because that's going to be a lot. The easy way is the entire top 14 are the drivers that are still on the lead lap and running. Everyone else is in pit road. William Duff is he on the lead lap currently? Yes, he will get that +1 lap momentarily. Andrew Littman still running as well in this race. Keep in mind, after 40 some odd minutes of repairs. Still have no idea what for, and we'll probably look at that after the race. 41 laps down, he's still running. Driver that has officially retired from the race is the one of Cameron Sarton. So that makes 2 drivers in total that have fully retired from the race. Bill Dart being the first one, and then Cameron Sarton being the most recent one. So for everyone's sake that there isn't going to be any more, as the green flag flies and caught way off guard is Chris Chavez Essery. He was in this position before, both the 13 and the 15. They were in this position before, relatively 1-2 on the restart at a green-white checkered attempt. Can Chris Chavez do anything? He's going to decide to push the 13 and not go to the inside lane as of yet. If a caution does come out again before we get the white flag, then that will be a second green-white checkered attempt. Down the back straightaway they go. Driver peeking in the middle, 3 wide. That is the 12 of Andrew Medlin saying, well, you know what? No one else is here, so why don't I put myself here? Because these drivers will have to use this lane at some point. There goes the 5 of Trey Jackson to fall through the middle. Coming to the start-finish line, it will be the white flag, 3 wide, 1 lap to go at the start-finish line. Anything that happens, their caution will not come out. Victor Pfluger leads, being helped by the 28 of Tony Brent. The 12 and the 5, Andrew Medlin and Trey Jackson, are in the middle lane, although they might be out of the equation here. There's the 22 of David McConnell. Keep an eye on the 22 and 28 as well as 27. Those 3 are on the same team. Down the back straightaway we go into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Who will come out victorious? here at Daytona. Off turn number 4. Fluger leads on the inside lane. Being helped. He's actually going to get left out to dry. Contact is made. The 12 spins in front. And he somehow, I believe, into the catch fence. Did he just win? Going into the catch fence. Fluger has ended up upside down. Wow. I don't think the 12 has an engine left to do donuts with. And that's putting it lightly. There is nothing but absolute carnage here after the checkered flag. Wow. I have quite literally zero. Is he trying to? Does he have reverse? He has reverse. I think that's the only gear the 12 might have. Either that, or is he gonna try to do donuts with that? Oh, he might. Nope, that might be it. That might be it in the car. We'll see. Oh, let's go into the. That's running. That is definitely running. I cannot believe what I've just witnessed. I can say that for certain. Wow. Well, let's collect ourselves. I don't think we have replay available is the real question. Let's see if we can, that we do. Oh, barely. Well, not necessarily. We might not have, I think the wreck was so bad that, we might not have replay immediately available here. Let's see if we can get something. Oh, that might be it. Ah, there we go. Okay. That took a bit, but we got it. Again, interview with the top 3 here momentarily, but let's take a look at the absolute carnage that had occurred across the start finish line, all the way from the white flag, all the way to the last lap. And believe you me, we're definitely doing slow motion. I saw that gap at the line, by the way. The entire top 3 finished within 0.035 seconds. A drag race to end all drag races, that is for sure, and in a very dramatic style. Well, let's see, the 28 tries to make his way through, makes a little bit of contact. I thought right here, Fluger could have had it, but he did get tagged anyway. The 15 makes his way through, flying on the inside, trying to avoid the wreck. He does get the position past the 80. And look at that. Wow. That is the margin to victory. Backwards, with the roof flaps open, and yet still goes into the catch fence. Something that I literally cannot believe what I have just witnessed. That is for sure. Taking a look from the flag stand. This is going to be an image and a half. Wow. Well, thank goodness this is virtual, that's for sure, because that entire catch fence section would have been taken down entirely. Yeah, I say again how much I have 0 words for this whatsoever. That is just absolutely incredible. We'll get an interview with your top 3 here in just a couple of moments. We're going to A, go over your results, and B, regroup a little bit. So let's go over the finishing results of this race. Finishing in first place, there we go, is Andrew Medlin by 0.22 seconds. That was close. 0.022 seconds. Is Chris Chavez Ezri. Victor Fluger finishes in 3rd. David McConnell 4th. Tony Brent finishes in 5th place. 6th place is Hunter Carson. 7th place is Trey Jackson. 8th place, Brian Johnson. Philip Chavez finishes in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Jared Claude. The next portion of the field, 11th through 20th. Doug Pierce and Corey Moore finishing 11th and 12th. 13th and 14th, Jonathan Burt and Sam Siegel. 15th and 16th being William Duff and Ryan Lynch. Travis Start finishing in 17th. 18th place being Michael Thorpe Jr. 19th place, Zachary Lovelace, and the 20th place position being rounded out by Cameron Sarton. And then the rest of the field, Larry Griffin in 21st, Heberly Telemack finishing 22nd, 23rd, John Dart and Andrew Littman in 24th. Well, let's take a quick moment to regroup just ever so slightly. And we will come back to you momentarily with the interviews for the top 3.
Here at TWRS, we're always here to help our squad when they need a little push in the right direction. That's just who we are. We're a beautifully diverse group of goofballs dedicated to driving fake race cars as fast as possible. And we continue to push each other to the front using the power of nonsense. We have one of the strongest NASCAR programs on the service, and you can access it all for $24.99 a month. And we just released individual subscriptions for $14.99 a month for each NASCAR vehicle. We also just added a Rallycross program, and our IndyCar program is taking off as well. So come join the weird side. We have speed and cookies. Cookies are not included in some locations.
Well, welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway, the post-race interviews for the top 3 here for the Full Send Racing Series, the Full Send Racing Association, and what a race this was. I still have absolutely zero words for what I've just seen, but definitely a lot more words for the top 3 finishers, that is for sure. One of those top 3 finishers, we are going to be starting off with Victor Fluger in the number 80 machine. Victor, you did a fantastic job with sitting up there in the top 5 when it mattered, led a couple laps, and I had thought that you'd gotten yourself off sequence with Corey with your strategy, but it seemed to work out pretty well by the end since you managed to, well, finish, first of all, but also finishing in the top 3.
Yeah, no, it was a really interesting race. We did try to get off strategy there early, and that looked like it was going to play to us really well. And then we got those couple of cautions right in the mid part of the race that really kind of took away that advantage. So a little bit of a scramble to get back to a strategy that kept us up front, but got lucky. Cautions kind of fell our way, and yeah, was able to show up right when it mattered. Shame Corey got in that last wreck, but sometimes that's the way it goes.
Especially with the fun question mark nature of super speed race. Well, I think chaotic is the more appropriate term actually in that sense, but not too bad of a way to kick off the first race of the season. This is the part where I would also bring up the stage finishes, but it happened not only in pit road, well, it happened in pit road with the stage finishing, so that is going to be a one heck of a thing to look at for later. But going into the next race at Dover, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a place I'm really looking forward to it. We seem to
Oh,
do pretty
actually,
well with the concrete tracks, and it looks like it's Atlanta next
Atlanta.
week.
Yep, that's
So
my apologies. And
yeah,
not
even
only the
better.
regular Atlanta, not the super speedway. I'm thinking ahead to Dover already for some reason. But not only just Atlanta, not the super speedway configuration, but the 2008 iteration as well. So that's going to be, to put it lightly, brutal on the tires.
Absolutely, it's going to take a lot of patience, and yeah, making sure that TWRS number 80 Camaro's got it hooked up, and I'm not using up anything I don't have to, anyways.
Well, you do mention TWRS, and that's a perfect segue to, before we let you go, shout out anyone else that you have in mind that helps to get it done for that number 80.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to give a big shout out to Van Lilly Stickers, big supporters of us. help keep us pushing through. Same with the guys over at Blue Oak Motorsports, the larger team. Always good to have a lot of support back home, and I'm pretty sure mom and dad are watching. So hi guys, and big shout out to my kids, who of course are my biggest fans and right here with me for most of it. So
What a way to impress them by finishing, I think backwards actually. Well, no, with a car on your nose, quite literally, but in third place crucially. So we hope to see you again next week at Atlanta.
we'll be here, looking forward to it.
And that is Victor Pfluger, the third place finisher. And we will be very quickly moving on. Well, not very quickly, I should say. But we will be moving on regardless to the second place finisher, who is Chris Chavez Ezra. And Chris, you almost had the win. You saw the gap on the inside lane once it opened on the inside, and well, you made it, but he came up short, unfortunately, by 0.022 seconds. Gosh, I hate numbers. But regardless, you still end the night with a second place finish.
Yeah, I'll take that anytime at Daytona. Anything could happen, so I was lucky to be there in that position, even finishing seventh, I think it was, before I shot to the bottom. But yeah, I think if I would have went a little lower, I might have been able to get the win.
Potentially just a little bit lower. And well, luckily with this second place finish, it does give you a lot of momentum going into the next couple of races, give or take. And of course, we have Atlanta being the next race. But before we touch on that for a few moments, I did notice, and quite surprisingly, well, not even surprisingly, that a lot of drivers had decided to in the final stint pit early, about 15 laps into their stint, as opposed to finishing out the whole 30 laps, and which will put them about 10 laps to go effectively before having to pit. So was that just a collective agreement of, yeah, we should probably pit early?
Well, for me, I actually lost the draft, and I went a lap. I was actually a lap down when that happened, and I couldn't go another lap when the last group of guys pitted. So when the first group pitted, I was like, "Oh, I have to go now."
And of course, we see how that turned out. Just once again, watching the in car of your view from what happened. You were running about seventh or so at the time, and then just the seas almost parted for you. You made it. If you moved maybe just a little bit lower, you might have gotten it, but still a absolutely impressive run, nonetheless, going into the next race. So now that I touch on that, Atlanta being the next race and the 2008 iteration as well. So no doubt, not only brutal on the tires, but very, very challenging with handling as well.
Oh, I love that track. All tracks where it's super heavy wear, I just those are my favorite ones where you have to really baby the tires and can't overdrive it. Even if you think you're saving, you could still be burning them up. So I'm excited to race there. It'll be fun.
Yeah, fuel strategy is one thing. Tire strategy is a whole different ballpark, especially when you have, gosh, how heavy are these cars? Like what, 3,000 pounds and 750 horsepower under your right foot. I'd hope the right foot in some cases. But before we go ahead and let you go, celebrate your second place finish. Go ahead and shout out who gets it done for you.
Just give a shout out to Travis for running the league. Him and John. Shout out to all the sponsors. Shout out to my brother Philip and everyone that watches, and you for throwing out a great broadcast.
Thanks for your time and appreciate the shout out. I guess I kind of have to say that. I can't just ignore it, but thank you. Thank you regardless. And we hope to talk to you again next week at Atlanta.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So that is Chris Chavez Ezri finishing in the second place position. And we get to the person who somehow, some way, I think already has made a new category of most dramatic way to cross the start finish line ever, I guess, in the series so far. Andrew Medlin. I still have no words for what happened.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think I've ever won a race with my back bumper before. So when you're facing the opposite direction, about 50 yards short of the finish line, I didn't think I would hang in there and uh, get across first. But I guess I have the 15 car and Chris Esser to thank for that.
Not only that, you were like 3 wide, just pretty much like not even half a foot from pretty much wrecking in turns 1 and 2 as we watch the footage back once again. But
Yeah.
I'd still know what happened. It hasn't hit me yet. I know what happened. I saw what happened, and it just hasn't registered. My brain cannot comprehend that. So, regardless, though, what a way to start off the season, especially, and even still, even that, not only that, but a wild way to finish the stage. At the same time, the most interesting stage finish I've ever seen. I was expecting someone to maybe go like one lap or 1 or 2 laps longer to pass the stage. No, everyone just goes into pit road. The entire top seven cross the start finish line to end the stage in pit road, and I can't say I've ever seen that before.
Hey, there's always something new and interesting here at Full Send Racing League. But yeah, I got to give a shout out to Ricky Bobby Motorsports. We were talking about that as we were approaching the stage, and doing our best to kind of guesstimate where other guys' fuel situations were at. And because a bunch of guys pitted the lap before, right before the stage, we thought, you know what? We're all in the top 10. If we go into pit road now, the rest of the guys won't catch up and get the finish line until we've already crossed the start finish line on pit road. And it ended up working out. I agree. I've never done it that way, gotten stage points, so that was pretty cool. And then later on in the race, yeah, with that last green, white, checkered, there was an opportunity going into turn three with two to go there. And I think it was maybe Trey Jackson and Tony Brent on the high side there. And I just decided, you know what, I'm going to throw it in the middle here and see what happens. If it doesn't work, I can move up or down between the guys that I was next to. And I ended up getting a good side draft there and kind of hold it in the middle. I was like, yeah, I might actually have something for these boys here. So there was some really close calls, like you said, inches apart for like a whole lap and a half there. But like I said earlier, to start the wrecking process that early and still figure out a way to turn it sideways, get in the air, and still kind of keeping every part of my car in front of the other guys. Didn't expect that, but a fun, wild finish for sure.
I was about to say, I don't know about every part, but I think technically, yeah, you did finish with quite literally every part in front of everyone. It's just that some of them you may have left behind a little bit, which you might want to go and pick that up just for memorabilia's
Hey,
sake.
as long as the transponder was still attached to the roll cage, we were good to go.
That is the most important thing. Although I do wonder actually. Now it's a whole different conversation. But now I'm curious that even if the transponder just stopped working, if you still visually saw someone cross the start finish line, I wonder if that would count. We have the technology for that. There's no reason why it wouldn't. I don't think so. The only thing you would mess up is just the actual official scoring sheets.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it was definitely a fun race for sure. I mean, I know these guys, I wasn't able to make it last week for the Clash, but I know we're right at the beginning of the season. There's a lot of new drivers in this league, and for the most part, everybody was running a really good race. There was a lot of fuel strategy going on, so I hope it didn't make it too boring at times earlier in the race. We're running single file, just trying to save fuel. But you know what? It worked out in the end. A lot of guys were up there duking it out there those last couple laps, and definitely a fun race for sure. Had a great time out there.
Before I go ahead and let you go celebrate your, to put it not even lightly, just to put it vaguely, a very unique race win, go ahead and shout out who gets it done for you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I gotta, thank the sponsor first. Always fun winning the Berserker Industries race at Daytona here, and got to give a shout out to the league sponsors, Butt Kicker, On the Throttle, Team Watson Racing Setups. Like I said, big shout out to Ricky Bobby Motorsports. I was an unofficial teammate with them tonight, being a part-time driver, single car. Had to find some guys to draft with and work with there, so I had a lot of fun with them. And definitely give a shout out to my boys at Storm Motorsports and Campbell Racing. That's where I get all my tips on how to practice, how to qualify, how to race. Go check them out on YouTube if you haven't heard of them before. And certainly all my family and friends. My wife was so ecstatic. She was watching me with a big smile those last 10 laps because it's been a while since I've actually won a race. So I can't even remember the last time. It's been that long. So, but big shout out to my beautiful wife, Sarah. I know my dad, Bruce, my brother, Aaron, Joe, were watching. Give a shout out to Richard Lamb and Vernon. And let's see, I can't forget Rita Evans. Rita, I know from the Chris Essery and Philip Chavez's grandmother. I know she used to watch these races, so she tunes in and watches this. Rita's still thinking about you. Appreciate you turning in and watching us on the Racing Line Network. And Gary, hope you had a good call. I'm looking forward to watching it here after the race.
I definitely look forward to next week as well, going to Atlanta, especially after this kind of a finish. Atlanta has a lot to live up to now, I feel like. So we're going to go ahead and let you go. Thanks again for your time.
It does, yeah, yeah. I'll miss next week. I'm hoping to make it back for Montegi. But I'll be watching all the races on the Racing Line Network. So appreciate it, Gary. We'll see you next time.
And that is Andrew Medlin, race winner, in way more unique in ways than I was expecting. That was absolutely fantastic. What a way to kick off the season as well. So by next week, we should hopefully have point standings and points graphics for you, provided by ATVO. Now that they have the support for real-time championship standings, we should, in theory, be able to do that. It'll be tricky with stage points, but we should be able to do that in theory. But in fact, before I say anything else and before we sign off, let me take a look and see, because now they hypothetically should be updated, and to the surprise of no one, Andrew Medlin is leading the point standings at 47 points. Looks like no official bonus points as of yet, but I believe that will be adjusted for next time. Same goes for the stage points, but Andrew Medlin, at the end of the day, does lead in the championship standings. He does say, like he just said, he will be missing Atlanta, unfortunately, but we will see how things go in the meantime. Still puts himself in a very good position for the next portion of the season, next portion of the series. I cannot say this enough, but thanks everyone so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed as much as I did, and we will see you all next week at Atlanta, the 2008 iteration more specifically. We hope to see you there as we bring you the... Double checking the schedule real quick. It better be Atlanta. It is Atlanta. Yep. All right. Just wanted to be sure, as we will be bringing you the Big Peach 205 presented by 27 Tattoo 72 on Twitch. 133 laps next week at the 2008 iteration of Atlanta. Might as well bring a couple extra set of Goodyear tires, because everyone knows that we're going to need them. We will see you all next time.